have an issue with Benjamin calling out Cam?
Yes and no. You know what's odd? The first thing I thought was, I remember when Benjamin first left, it was about how close he and Cam
That's
were.
what I thought, yeah.
Cam was going to be upset. Listen, Kelvin Benjamin showed up overweight as a rookie, never got into best shape, and a lot of this is on him. No, because as a journalist, anytime I get an athlete to tell me what they really authentically think, it's a great day.
Yeah.
And so he has said, he's put voice to a thought that a lot of people have. He's not accurate. He's not a student of the game. And I would have played better with a quarterback who was more into the game. That's what Kelvin Benjamin thinks. That there's probably some truth in that. There's also the other side, again, Kelvin Benjamin, there's some things he should have done to be a better performer.
It didn't bother me. Cam's a little like Westbrook. Oklahoma City and Charlotte are smaller towns. Cam and Westbrook are flawed but dynamic players, and those markets feel like we're getting talked about. People talk about us. People talk about the Panthers. People talk about OKC. The organization has coddled them mostly, and criticism, you get real pushback. I think Cam's support in Charlotte is almost Brady-like in New England. The difference is one's been a huge winner. I don't think he said anything we don't believe to be true, but you criticize Cam and Charlotte, kind of a college town. You criticize Westbrook and OKC. By the way, both struggle with accuracy. You're going to get major pushback. Cam's following in Charlotte is college town stuff. You know how college towns are. They're loyal to a fault. Pro towns are loyal to a point. College towns are loyal to a fault. And I don't think he said anything people haven't talked about for years.
Yeah, but my thing is why. I just don't understand why you would go after somebody that you used to play with. And one thing that I know going forward from this, he better put up some numbers now. And the guys he's playing with out there, I'd rather have Cam Newton throwing me the football than the guys he's playing with now. So I just don't understand why you would call out an ex-player. We all have an opportunity to do that. Cam could call you out saying that you came in overweight, you were lazy, maybe you didn't know the playbook, whatever it is, you're always hurt, you're not on the, whatever it is. You can go at almost any player. We're all flawed in some respect. It doesn't make sense why you would go after it. I mean, Cam Newton is a dynamic player. He's the MVP of this league. Is he an accurate guy? No, we know that, though. I mean, his biggest attribute is being athletic, 6'6", 265 pounds. We know what he brings to the table. When he plays that ball of Cam Newton ball, which is where he's running the ball, that's when he's an MVP caliber guy.
Look, I'm hoping that there's some upside to this because I'm someone that's not giving up on Cam because I think he's a really talented guy. I think he's capable of playing at an MVP level again. I think there may be some upside here in Kelvin Benjamin publicly calling him out and putting some pressure on Cam Newton. I hope that Kelvin Benjamin also was man enough to say this to Cam when they were teammates or in private, and this isn't just some pot shot from far away now that I'm in another city. But now that it's here, I think it puts a little pressure on Cam. And I hear you about Charlotte, and I used to live in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is a suburb of Charlotte. 15 miles south of Charlotte. It is a college town, but I do think they've had enough of what they've seen from Cam in recent years, and they'll want to see Cam improve under Norv Turner in a different offensive system. And if they don't see that improvement, they're going to take Kelvin Benjamin's words and they're going to shove them down Cam's throat.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. Because I think, listen, we had Greg Jennings on today. I had you on today. D'Angelo Hall. I've interviewed 10 guys who have played with him, played against him, and they all said the same thing. Yeah, he's huge, great athlete, but he could be better at the quarterback thing. It's almost like with Westbrook. Yes, he's dynamic, but he's not the easiest guy to play with. That's what you're saying about Cam. He's not the easiest guy to play with. I think it's very difficult to get people to change when they're rich. When you're rich and pretty successful, people will do change when your health's at risk. Or if you don't change, you're getting a divorce. Or you're desperate. Cam's not desperate. He's got an MVP, he's got a lot of money, he's got a great family, and he's got support in the community.
I'm not sure if he has the level of respect around the league that he wants. And I don't, certainly wealth and youth create a level of delusion. But Cam's getting older and older every year, and you start snapping out of it because he went to the Super Bowl once. He had the MVP once. He hasn't been in the MVP conversation since.
Well, you've been a star. Does this kind of criticism bother you if somebody took a shot at you?
Yeah, it bothers you. I mean, you take it, absolutely, you're thinking about it. But at the same time, I think Cam Newton, if he is getting older, and if he doesn't have that athleticism, then it's not going to work. He's not going to be that MVP quarterback. He has to be Cam Newton in order to be successful, just like Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's great. He's great in the pocket, but what makes him truly special is when he gets outside of the pocket, that's what Cam Newton has to have. That's what North Turner better be game planning and putting in a system that's going to utilize Cam Newton's talents. Otherwise, it's over. I don't think you'll ever see that MVP-type guy again if he's trying to be sitting back in the pocket, being a slicer and dicer. He's just not that quarterback.
Cowherd, do you think the anthem issue will distract Dak this season?
No, because I think in Dallas, he is beloved, and they're on his side on the anthem issue. Again, I think politics is easier when you have alignment. I think Dak's really mature. I think he's really smart. I think he's really defiant. I think he's going to be great for the next 12 years. I'm a huge fan of him. This continues to be why I'm a huge fan of him. He doesn't have the best arm. He was a fourth-round prospect. What blows me away with Dak, every time he's asked a tough question, right answer. And he's just saying, I gave you my opinion. I can handle it. He's not afraid of criticism. And I do think, I've told you this before, on this anthem situation, the market matters. You know, San Francisco and Seattle are pro-kneeling. Dallas and Charlotte, a little more conservative, are not as pro-kneeling. So I think in Dallas, it plays okay.
The mural is in Dallas. This is a Cowboys fan taking a pot shot at him in Dallas. I do think it's going to be tough for Dak. I think that social media has such control over our thoughts on race, and people want to extract a penalty for Dak Prescott. Saying something that earlier today, Colin, I went back and looked at what LeBron James said when Colin Kaepernick started kneeling, and it was almost word for word the exact same thing that Dak Prescott said. And LeBron said, no, I'm not going to kneel. No disrespect to the guys that are, blah, blah, blah. It was almost word for word what Dak said. And this is what just keeps blowing my mind. We have put a pressure on NFL players that we're not putting on other players, other athletes. NBA players have guaranteed contracts. Allegedly, they have great relationships with their ownership. And so if there was a play with guaranteed contract, all the money they make from shoe companies, why aren't those players being called on to kneel with this kind of pressure that we're putting on Dak Prescott? LeBron James, Dak Prescott say the same thing. Dak Prescott gets ridiculed. LeBron James is, well, it's perfectly fine. NBA, you guys, you don't have to kneel. You don't have to do anything to hurt your bottom line. I think Dak's under a lot of pressure. It'll be interesting how he handles it.
Yeah.
Well, I think Dak is under a whole immense ton of pressure. And for him, you know, I don't think it was necessarily what he said. I think it's the way he said it. He almost dismissed the black community is what I felt like. Had he come and said, well, guys, if you want to kneel, then I understand where you're coming from. It seems as though Dak made his stance and he felt as though his stance was the only one that mattered. And so for me personally, I would have liked to hear Dak say, but I understand where the other side is coming from. I don't think I heard him say that.
He did say that, but you didn't hear it, but he did say that.
When I watch that tape and I see him respond, I'm kind of with you. I love that because that's something that I didn't have when I played. What I'm saying is the ability to say, I said it. If you don't like it, that's too bad for you. That he's being fearless. And I think if anything, this is going to help him in that locker room, to me. Because I know if I was in that locker room with him, I'm like, right for you, whether I agree with you or not. You stand by what you said. He's showing that he's fearless. I think this is why he's had so much success on the field, coming from where he's come from. I love it. I think this is great. And it is sad to think that because he's speaking his mind and he's saying this is my choice and it's what I believe in, and you're going to call me, I mean, that type of mural, I'm selling out. I'm in a trance. It's not fair at times, but that is the world that we live in now.
But
I love how he handled it.
I think the mural got defaced already.
Yeah, it did. Someone
ridiculous.
put sunglasses
Whoever put that
on.
up there is ridiculous.
I agree with D'Angelo, though, about the pressure he's under, because the only way this is going to work for Dak is if he plays at a high level. If he struggles on the field, the guy that did this mural, he's going to have a whole pack of guys doing murals, and there's going to be an attack on Dak. If he plays well, I think this is going to work wonderfully well for him. He'll be more celebrated. He'll quiet his critics. But if he struggles at all, and particularly with Dez Bryant not being there, I think he's going to be under attack.